you would see through it. But what it is that most often the government would not admit to their wrongs. They barely would do that. They barely would do that. And so you would notice that their opponents
Up out of there.
Ain't nothing but against the party.
opposition will see everything wrong with what they do. Hardly would you find the opposition commending the government. It's something we've become used to, right? But doesn't mean that everything the government in power does is right. You know that. And it also does not mean that everything they are doing is wrong, seeing it from the opposition's eyes. But you also will admit that in many instances, when a government is in power, some key institutions are supposed to, for instance, call out the government, may fail to do so. And so it will fall on the opposition to do that. And when it happens like that, there are tendencies where people will just say, oh, don't mind these people. It's the opposition. Or it is being funded by the opposition. But then again, you don't sit back and reflect and look at the fact that there are germane issues. So this issue relating to Galamsey, for example, are we saying that it is not a germane issue? Or, yes, we admit it's a germane issue. But then if the opposition comes and joins in the conversation, then you're saying that what? It waters down the facts. Does it change the color of the water that we are seeing? I think that we shouldn't use politics to downplay our real problems. Because really, when some things are going on, nobody will talk about the opposition, whether it's MPP or the NDC. So let's try as much as we can to sift the issues. If there's an issue, and for instance, an opposition party added voice to it, it does not take out the fact that the issue is there. It is there. We all admit, or we all argue sometimes, that a lot of the times it feels as though the politicians are more effective in opposition because they will speak against a lot of the things. They would see the ills of society when their lenses are off and they don't have all the access to the state largesse to make them comfortable. So they see all the problems in opposition. But when they come into government and now they are enjoying the perks of government, then they get blinded and everything is beautiful in their eyes. As a people, we must not fall for this. So whether we like it or not, they will be part of the conversation. But let's not use that to water down genuine concerns of people. We cannot consistently do that to ourselves. Anyway, this is the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. legal affairs correspondent is joining me in the studio. Next year, I'll take him to Dubai. But I have a question for you. What is luck? What is luck to you? For many, luck is that glorious moment when you find money in your trousers, right? When you are broke. Here with me. Mutala, good morning to you.
Good morning, Nadidi. How are you doing?
I'm well. We're expecting a lot of activity in the course today as well, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yes.
yesterday, a lot of people had their ears and eyes glued to their various sets, whether
Yes.
whether they were monitoring via YouTube or social media, wherever it is. They wanted to know
What was happening?
what's happening,
Yes.
especially when the news was that the lead convener for Democracy Hub was going to be sent to
Oliver Barker.
court.
Former-
Yes, yeah. But yesterday, the news was that what? He's unwell.
He is unwell, yes. So you notice that since Tuesday, even though the legal vacation is still on,
Yeah.
the court is so busy. So since Tuesday, this issue about the protesters always will come to court. And the unique thing about these whole sittings, normally they bring them in the afternoon. So sittings go deep even after the normal court sections.
Hours, okay.
At the courts by 4, latest by 4, all courts close. And so this one had to travel even beyond 5 p.m. And so it tells you that, but one thing is certain, the way and manner the police have always masked up, have always appeared in court. Sometimes it's even scary, because yesterday, for instance, they were the charge sheet that they filed had some 13 names, including Oliver Barker, Vomawa, Felix City, Nelson, and some 11 others. But if you see the police presence at the court, many will wonder. I know they have done a lot of security issues, so when it comes to security matters, you don't play with certain things. You have to make sure that you tackle issues from all angles. I'm sure also that they are looking at the number of people who will be amassing up at the court, and all that. Police intelligence will also lead them to do certain things. But well, we'll move on from there. And then the case was scored, but Oliver Barker was missing. But before they will even arrive, there were issues about his health, whether he was going to come to court and all that. And when they arrived, he wasn't part. So the case was scored. And immediately the case was scored, something came up. Dr. Justice Remsai, who represented one of the defense lawyers, I might say, raised an issue, pointed to the court that, look, at this particular point in time, the charge sheet that was read, 2 of the accused persons were not present in court. And even those who were present, there was one particular accused person who was present. Their name is not on the charge sheet. The arrest also took place beyond 48 hours. So they were wondering what is happening. So it turned out that the names that were mentioned, one person was skipped. And guess who the person is? Felicity Nelson. So she was seated, she was handcuffed in court, but when the charge sheet was read, her name was not part. So it was skipped. So we drew the court attention to that. Secondly, he also made known to the court that ever since the suspect at the time were picked up, counsels never had opportunity to have conference with them. So he is urging the court to stand the case down for them to have conferences with their client. And initially, Dr. Justice Shropshire, for instance, when they announced themselves, said he was representing two of the accused persons. Then the court said, okay, let me give you some time. Prosecution did not oppose. 30 minutes. So after having conference with the accused person, it changed. So he added one accused person, and some of the lawyers also had some adding to those who they are representing. So the case was called, the charges were read, in fact, 6 counts: conspiracy, unlawful assembly, causing unlawful damage, offensive conduct to the breach of peace, and of course,
so it applies to all of them.
Virtually all of them. So they pleaded not guilty. So now
I am asking because, you know, we saw in some of the videos where people were just standing.
Absolutely.
So is it the case that maybe one person is unlawful assembly, another person is causing damage, or one person gets all the 6 counts?
So if you look at the way they couched the charge sheets,
yes,
virtually all of them.
So everybody gets all the 6 charges.
Absolutely, all of them. So they mention your name, they read Oliver Barker and 11 others. They mention your name, and then they tell you and others did A, B, C, D until the
because
whole
usually,
count.
I think one of the arguments that I've heard being made is that a lot of the times it is the leaders of the demonstrations that are held responsible.
Absolutely.
You know. So
yes, I have, in fact, I have the charge sheet for yesterday's case, and I'm going to walk you through if you have time.
Okay. I'm just very curious as to from how everybody.
Yes, from count 1 to the last count. Then the number of people, all the accused persons who were arraigned, who is facing what charge and what. So if you take conspiracy, for instance, conspiracy has all
of them
accused persons. Oliver Barker, Vomawo, Cedric Bansa, Michael Amufa, Emmanuel Ofe, Ni Ayi, Fred Boateng, Dipoti Idrusu Yusuf, Wandele, Fanny Otu, Samuel Samako, and then Felicity Nelson, Nana Amu, Mensa Pepra, and Thomas Yeboah. So all of them. Then you take unlawful assembly, the substantive
charge.
To
all of them.
That one to all of them.
Then
you go to causing unlawful damage.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
Then you come to offensive conduct to the breach of peace.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
Then you go to assault on public officer.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
And then the last one, defacement of public notice, virtually.
All of them.
All of them. So whatever was put before the court has all the, and in fact, the day before yesterday, those who came, there was a man who was shouting, was in kaftan, and everybody would stand to reason that how can somebody wear kaftan, white one, of course, to decide to go and demonstrate with it? Well, things are happening, but that one personally, it is beating my imagination. How somebody would decide to wear kaftan, not a t-shirt, top and what they are. Sometimes you go for sporting activities, you decide to wear. But this one, the person is in kaftan. I don't know whether when he went to the police cells and then they gave him that one. But I'm wondering that. But of course, the police did their investigation, and then that will be proven in court and all that. So yesterday, after the conference, some of the lawyers, like I said, increased their clients. Some also had to let some of their clients. The reason sometimes you see defense lawyers this one is representing that is that sometimes some of the accused person, when they are telling their story, you notice that they have similar accounts.
Okay.
So those accused person, it is only good that they have one counsel.
Okay.
And then those who have conflicted accounts will also be on the other side, just so that when you are when the trial starts, you don't have one lawyer, but they have two different issues. Accounts. And one of these things happened during the high treason case.
Okay.
Dr. Frederick Yaomak Pam, ACP, Dr. Benjamin Agozo's case and all that. So one of the lawyers, at a point in time, the accused person had to do cross-examination by themselves, even though when lawyers were present, because the accounts were different and they were being represented by one counsel. So there was a lot of challenges in relation to how you prosecute your case and all that. So
Okay.
that is how it plays out in there. Then they call the charges were read, and now we move bail. Prosecution's initial comment was to the effect that Oliver Barker, in fact, medical report was brought to the court to show that Oliver and then the other accused person, Fanny Otu, were not well. Fanny Otu was supposed to be part of the Tuesday squad that came, but because the day that they were coming to court, prosecution said he was unwell. He complained, so they had to take him to the police hospital, and then that's how come he was part of yesterday's. And Oliver Barker, of course, is also unwell. So they submitted that to the court, and her point was that they should keep them in custody, make sure that when they are well, those who are not well, when they are well and the medical officer declared them fit, then now they'll come to court and respond to their charges. Then Dr. Justice Remsai, who represented Oliver Barker, Felicity Otu, and Bansa, said move bail application in respect of all of them. And this one unique thing about yesterday's sitting compared to what took place on Thursday was that the lawyers who represented the accused person took time. They made bail application in respect of each of the accused persons who were brought yesterday. But previously, on Tuesday, the lawyers lumped all the accused persons together and made one single bail application for them. So that is the difference. So it took a longer time. Oliver Barker, Dr. Justice Remsai said, look, at this particular point in time, discharge him from police custody, let him have time to heal, let him have time to defend himself. And of course, Felicity Nelson, 34-year-old, we're told that he's a journalist with a young boy. Mm-hmm. The young boy, as we speak, is missing the mother and will need a motherly care. She doesn't know what is happening to the son whilst in custody and of a sort. So they made all the argument. One of in fact, the 13th accused person were told that his lawyer indicated to the court by way of a bail application that even having conference with him was a challenge because he realized that he was not consistent. His thoughts were not.
Who exactly?
The 13th accused person
okay.
Thomas Yeboah.
Okay.
And in fact, he only landed himself. He said he's a car washer within the military yard, and so the military officer indicated to him that anytime he needs something, there's an Hausa word that you have to use. When you say it, they'll give you something. He met the police officers, said it to them, and before he realized, he found himself in court. So these are some of the things that they were. So after that lengthy, over 3 hours argument, the court, it was already 5:50, according to my watch. Then his Honor, Mr. Kobina Obri-Yeboah, said, prosecution, my mind is made. I am remanding the accused person until tomorrow. And tomorrow is today at 1:30 p.m. for prosecution to also respond. They indicated clearly that they oppose to bail application. So today, the court will meet. Then the business of the day will be to hear from the prosecution or state prosecutors. Then the court will make a determination as to whether to grant bail or not to grant bail. But we've been speaking to one of the defense counsel, special counsel, whose client he thinks that has some mental issues. This is what he has to say.
I represented 2 of the accused persons.
Noble.
And one is at the police hospital. So we requested from the court for an unconditional release of the accused person as he needs medical attention. And also, one of the accused person I represented is someone who is not fit to stand trial because of his condition. Because from the incoherent speech of the accused person, one can visibly see that this person needs medical attention at the psychiatric hospital. And this is someone who was promised that if you ask any policeman, you say some things in Hausa to that policeman, the policeman will obviously give you food. So he only needed a policeman to ask him for food. And the policeman directed him to the next policeman who detained him because he approached him for food. So that person is obviously someone who is not fit to stand trial. Almost all the accused persons have different lawyers. So if all these different lawyers are urging on you to grant bail based on different conditions, one can only expect that the court will adjourn to consider same and rule on same tomorrow.
Defense lawyer. In fact, some of the argument that they even make to the fact that some people were picked on this on Sunday, and then they also facing charges of unlawful damage. And one of the argument was that before Sunday, the damages had already been committed or been done. So at what point did the person you picked up on Sunday commit that particular unlawful damage? So these are things that the court will have the opportunity upon hearing prosecution to make a determination as to whether to grant the accused person's bail or not. So that is in relation to the Democracy Hub, the protesters who have been. And this puts the number to 52. 52. In fact, it is 53. One person at large, or that one person is a subject matter of bench warrants. The remaining 52, all of them have appeared in court, and some will know their fate today.
All right. So the deputy AG too.
Yes. So this whole week, state prosecutors are also going through some sensitization to ahead of the new legal year. Sometimes an annual program that they do. It will end tomorrow, and one of the highlight of this particular conference is the plea bargaining law. In fact, the Office of the Attorney General has decided to come out with the guidelines to be able to ensure uniformity wherever you are. So state attorneys in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, anywhere. Once you somebody come before you with a plea bargaining request, things that you are supposed to do, so you have uniformity. And who is supposed to initiate? What are the cases that can go under the plea bargaining, and what are the cases? So you have to know all those things, and also learning how to go about drafting charges, how you can do your brief file, how you present your case before a court, and all that based on the experiences. Sometimes you go to court and then the judge is questioning you whether indeed you took your time to draft this charge and all that. So some of the things that they have to do before the new legal year starts, and so it has been. But the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayeboa, who launched this particular plea bargaining guidelines, has been speaking in relation to what should the plea bargaining law or guidelines will be doing.
By offering a structured approach, the guidelines are expected to enhance judicial efficiency, reduce case backlogs, and foster a more responsive justice system. The formulation of these guidelines is the result of extensive consultations and collaborations among various stakeholders, including members of the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, members of the judiciary, legal practitioners, law enforcement agencies, and representatives from civil society. Their contributions have been invaluable in crafting a document that reflects the diverse needs and expectations of our justice system. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all those who have dedicated their time and expertise to this important initiative. It is our hope that these guidelines will serve as a vital tool in achieving fairer, faster, and more effective justice for all. I urge all stakeholders within the criminal justice system to acquaint themselves with these guidelines and to implement them in their daily practice. Together, we can ensure that the administration of justice in Ghana is not only efficient, but also just and equitable. Thank you very much. On this note, it is also my honor once again to launch the plea bargaining guidelines for the Republic of Ghana.
So that is the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayeboa, launching that particular plea bargaining guidelines. And in fact, throughout the training, the 1 week training, the state prosecutors are going to go through all of them to acquaint themselves and to make sure that all the necessary things that they have to do before the new legal year starts with them. Then The Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obobisa, has also been speaking.
Okay.
Resolution of cases without the need for prolonged trials. It ultimately saves judicial resources and ensures timely and equitable justice. So the guidelines have been developed to provide a standardized framework for the administration of plea bargaining under Act 30 to promote fairness, transparency, and consistency in the plea negotiation process, ensuring that all the parties involved are treated equitably. It's been a long journey to get where we are today, and we would not have been able to have the plea bargaining guidelines as we have them today without our collective efforts.
So that is the Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obobisa. So they are also getting ready for the new legal year.
All right. Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent. A reminder that that's the country's best legal affairs correspondent gracing our studios. Now, let's move to our first check for today. We are talking about the resignation of the